Hello, everybody out there in Chatland. Welcome to the first edition of, I guess I'm calling this Raw and Uncut, because that's kind of the goal of what we're going to be doing here. Is just talking about anything esports related. But anyways, you guys know me as Zojalix. I've been around this chat since this chat existed, and I am here. And I just want to introduce our first guest here, maybe even might show up a little bit more often than not, but it's my boy from the world of fighting games and the world of Maverick Esports. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my wonderful friend.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, y'all might already know who I am, but my name is Hamalak, the man who is always going ham, no matter what event it is, whether it's fighting games, whether it is first-person shooters, or whether it's even strategy-style games. I'm your man with the plan to forever be honey slotted ham.
Your intros get me every time, and I love it so much. All right, so basically, this is the first edition of Raw and Uncut. There's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about, but we're kind of going to try and keep it focused to a specific topic. And the first topic that I want to be talking about, and we're going to be talking about it probably for quite a while as this goes on, is the Esports World Cup. Because this, my goodness, has this been an event, okay? We just haven't stopped. I think it's been 9 weeks of just constant esports, from Overwatch to League of Legends to StarCraft to Street Fighter to Tekken to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 just finished up. Shoutouts to Atlanta FaZe for absolutely steamrolling that whole bracket. I mean, they destroyed it. But I will keep all the COD stuff focused for later. But I do want to talk about Esports World Cup as a whole, as well as focusing a little bit more on the fighting game side of things, because this, I feel like, is a very different type of event for the fighting game scene. And Ham, I'm going to go ahead, turn this over to you. What was it like to watch this event, especially knowing that EWC is probably one of, if not the biggest event that esports has ever seen in terms of the grand scheme of every single esport coming together? So what was that like for you watching that as an FGC?
So kind of just kind of how everything was put together. I'm gonna go way early starts, even pre-Evo of last year. Okay. A couple months prior to Evo 2023, players like Mena RD. So I'm gonna kind of focus on Street Fighter for a little bit. Players like Mena RD dropped from Bandits initially after hearing about the EWC, and decided to join Team Falcons along with going into the EWC. And that's one thing that I noticed, is that a lot of really high-rated players were dropping their orgs to go to these even bigger ones, because they knew that the paycheck was going to be fat if they got the W. And that's one thing that I thought was a little... See, and this is the part about Uncut. I've had some opinions about this. I think it's a little bit of dirty money. Honestly.
Okay.
So, and the reason I say that is okay, if say X team, I'm gonna, I'll just use Cloud9 for an example, even though I know Cloud9 would never do this. They would bring on high talent, the highest talent possible, the best players from each region to try and snag the EWC championship. We saw that a lot with Falcons recently. A Middle Eastern team brought on and acquired multiple legends. Mena RD from the Dominican Republic for Street Fighter 6. They brought in Red Bull's own Anakin from the Tekken 8 scene from North America. They also picked up Joka, a legendary Fang player from the UK. And all of them, if I can look at this correctly, EWC Tekken, which they just had the last chance qualifier, and it's nasty. I'm just going to say it's nasty right out of the gate, because not only do you have some of the best people on the planet that play Tekken, but you have the best of their character types in each of these groups. For example, you have Nobi-san in Group AA, who has been playing the character Dragunov for 15 plus years. And then you have the new heads that have just joined the scene. For example, Atif Butt, who was the Tekken World Tour champion back in 2022, now part of Team Falcons. Same with Farzin, a brand new up and coming player from Pakistan, and has been throttling people left and right.
Interesting. Okay. So, you mentioned Team Falcons because it's interesting that you mentioned that, specifically that organization, because I don't know if you saw, but they clinched the #1 club spot for the EWC, which
I knew it.
gives them a prize of $7 million that goes directly to that org for that. Plus, I'm sure they still get all of the individual winnings from all the different games. I think they won Warzone. I'm pretty sure they came out on top on Apex Legends. Obviously, it sounded like they had multiple people who were coming out on top from from the FGC side of things. So, I mean, that dirty money part of it. Now, I don't know. Do you know if they're planning on doing like EWC every single year, or if they're planning on doing it differently?
That's a great question. And I mean, think of it, if you do something like this every year, I mean, not only is the cash payout immense, like just downright dubious, like overall between all the games, it is $70 million.
That's so much money.
That is so much. That is unfathomable amount of cash. You couldn't fit that in my room in terms of dollars. No way. Like, oh my goodness, golly gracious. It is 70 million smackaroonies. Think about that. If you win, oh my gosh.
And also, interesting thing to think about this too, with the MW3 side of things finishing up. I'm just going to pivot mainly because we're talking about Team Falcons. MW3 just finished up EWC, and Atlanta FaZe won the prize pool for that, which, random interesting fact tidbit, is that the EWC actually nerfed the prize pool for MW3, so that way it wasn't going to be more than champs. It was originally going to be more than champs, but then they nerfed it down. I think they made it about equal in terms of money, but when I do like a COD-focused episode, we'll probably really dive into a lot of the drama behind that, because golly, COD community, y'all are crazy.
Yes.
Anyways, so Team Falcons also now is, I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but I think they're rumored to be acquiring the spot of Vegas Legion inside the CDL. And then Vegas Legion as an org will be closing down shop.
Oh, interesting.
So currently, 3 out of the 4 Vegas Legion players are announced to be free agents going into the Black Ops 6 season. The only one who is not actually announced a free agency is Attach.
Rip. That's my dad.
The rest of dude, Attach is a goat. I don't care how he gets like ranked. He's a goat in my heart. I love him so much.
My man.
But anyways, like, obviously for a franchise league like the Call of Duty League, to be getting a spot in the CDL is crazy. And so, like, for Falcons now to literally, I mean, I had never heard of Falcons pre-EWC. Did not even know they existed. And now they're showing up. They just show up and dominate everything. And, which, I mean, it's fine. Like, if they have the money to be able to, like, it's where I think about, like, you come to that dirty talent. Is there a problem with, if your org has the money to invest in good players, why not? Because, like, obviously, in order to earn more money, you have to be willing to invest money. And as much as esports is a crazy thing, and I love it so much, bottom line, it's a business above anything else, too. And so to make it in the esports industry as an organization, you don't make it if you aren't winning. Because if you aren't winning, you're not making money.
That's a fact.
In that way, like, is that really still dirty money for Falcons to be able to buy out these other players?
It's kind of in the same vein of, do you watch any football? Not American football, like bit. European football?
I don't watch much soccer, no.
Okay, so you have back in 2021, or actually no, 2019, pardon me, we're going to go way back. PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, spent an absurd amount of dollary dues to make what it was called the Paris Super Team. And that's what they did. They put the highest caliber players onto a team, like the best of the best. Kylian Mbappe, to just name one of them, as their star center, who was the best center at the time, who was even taking statistics past Lionel Messi, even though Lionel Messi is the GOAT, the greatest ever play the game. Shout out to Pele, my actual GOAT. it is players like that can really dominate the scene. But then, really, when you look at it, when you go to the EWC looking at Street Fighter 6, which just actually happened last weekend, a fantastic event, by the way. Shout outs to where is it? Zhaohai from China taking the whole thing, and at the age of 37.
Wow, that's awesome. You don't
It
see a lot of players 25, 26.
Right. Well, and the thing with FGC is that you run into a lot of old people. Like, and I'm not talking like old, like, late 60s. We're talking like late 30s, early 40s. Daigo Umehara, the legend, the beast himself, is just now hitting 40 something years old. And this man is still making top 100s at certain events.
Hmm.
Not only that, because I mean, he's got an entire book on the emphasis of winning.
Oh,
Great book, by the way.
okay.
But like looking at this bracket, right? So you had the initial, and I'm not sure if they did this on the FPS side, but it was single elimination.
Yeah, single elim is kind
Okay, single elim first to 5,
of
which which one we got to see a ton of games. You're playing 3D chess with time travel at that point, really. Watching some of the, if not the best players to ever touch this game. I mean, you had Gachakun, Red Bull's Gachakun playing Rashid, Team Nassar's Angry Bird on Ken, Hikaru, a lot of Korean and Japanese players, and we still have our Middle Eastern representatives. I mean, Angry Bird is my favorite player for Street Fighter, but like I said earlier, right, players like Mena RD didn't even make it into where is it? I had it. Didn't even make it out of his group.
wow.
Yeah,
So was even like group stage like single elim? Or are you allowed to take a?
barely. It was first to 5 all the way through. First to 5 single elim.
That sounds at least like an MW3. If you lost two matches,
Oh,
you
dang.
lost two matches in groups, you were done, and then bracket stage was single elim. They still kept 2 5s all the way through. Which a lot of people were actually saying that they're going to do single elim when they get to bracket stage. They need to do best of sevens, and then grands needs to be a best.
Oh, that's a lot of
Sounds
games.
like a lot of COD, but also at the same time, I'm looking. Camps Grands was
Yeah.
it was a crazy. Like granted, Optic took it 5-1, but either way, there still could have been a lot of COD to be played. So,
Sure.
and obviously, we had crazy tight stakes throughout the entire event. Possible dirty money as Falcons is buying out a lot of players. But obviously, you watch the event.
Yep.
Glued to your TV, computer screen. What was it like watching the? Like the tech, like it was run smoothly. Did it feel good to watch as?
Yes, 100%. I feel like they production wise did a great job. They had, I would say, probably my favorite people for Street Fighter on the desk for such an event. Here, let me see if I can. Yeah, SF6 casters.
I don't even remember who that talent list was.
Click that there. Where is it? You know what? I know it was a part of that, and I can find it. Find the graphic. Where is it? Chat room, help! I'm clicking on the wrong one. I know it's somewhere, but I mean, so really during all of it, yeah, did you find it?
TV is a stage. Logan Sama as desk host. Hammers and your casters with Ryan Hart as
Love Ryan Hart. Like this whole crew, and it's in and of itself, like having Yipes and Vicious. First off, Yipes is a legend. I'm gonna let you know right now. He was the guy. So like when we were like casting COD like many years, like a couple of years ago, and each time like somebody got like a melee kill or someone like did something a little wild or crazy, I'd go
yeah.
Yeah, that's Yipes inspired. That is the man who brought in the legend of hit effects with your voice.
Okay. Okay.
But then you got like legendary players, and not just, I would say, players, legendary people in the community. You have Justin Wong, who recently, just this year, received the Evo Community Award for just having a incredible time being a part of the FGC. I mean, he's been playing fighting games for almost 30 years.
Wow.
Now being a family man and, raising his daughter Harper. And I mean, then there's legends like Vicious, who is literally featured, like Vicious, James Chen, who is like right next to each other, are featured in the game.
Oh wow. So they
which
brought
is
in like as many top dogs as they possibly could for that.
Oh yeah, they got the best of the best. Not to mention my man, also from the Midwest, St. Cola. Shout out to my boy. Is legendary. Having him on the analysis desk, which is not my personal call. I'd rather have him on the commentary versus analysis, but like they still delivered an incredible show. Not to mention Rob TV. That guy is so funny.
So with this being an event, do you think this event will have any, or do you think like at its core FGC is going to still kind of stay the same, and then just kind of people are going to continue to look forward?
I think it'll stay continue to the grassroots to what it is. I mean, playing first to 5 a single elim is a crazy notion, by the way. Like, yeah, you get a ton of games and you get to watch a ton of games, but there's not a lot of pressure. The pressure is kind of alleviated in a games that are, it's like, all right, you're playing a first to 2 and you have to adapt really fast, because Street Fighter 6 is a really, really fast game. You got to worry about so many different kinds. You got to worry about your health, the drive rush meter, and along with your super meter as well. I mean, really, when we saw, and this is kind of the meta in terms of like the Asian side of Street Fighter 6, is when you have meter to burn and you know that it's about to be a clutch moment, you will sit there, and you know what? I even got a little mini guide to even kind of demonstrate this, right? This thing is really funny. They'll sit in the neutral and wait and start buffering for super.
Okay.
In neutral. So like they see one action, like a whiff jab, super is immediate. And it'll close out the round. Like that has been meta for Street Fighter 6 for a couple months now, since the release of season 2. But I mean, it's part of the game, right? If it's part of the game, you can do it. Anybody can do it. It's like picking the same character in character select. Everybody has the option to pick X character and just use it.
Also, into EWC, I feel the first event that has brought every sport and almost every single down on banner. So
Yeah.
with just thinking about the rest of the world, obviously around the same time, also have
True.
thing traditional. Do you think? I guess the biggest kind of difference country. Do you think
Right.
we could see, especially because we got 70 Paducah dollars poured into this Do you think we could see organizations investing specifically to try?
You know, I would agree. Being that how many players each org decided to pick up for the EWC alone. Like I'm sure after EWC is done, they're gonna drop these players like hotcakes, and that's gonna suck. Because like I appreciate these players. I want to be able to see these guys travel. I want to see them go to events. I want to see them. Pardon me. I want to see them beat ass while I'm there. Like that's part of the game. Like you want to see hands being thrown by some of the best players possible. And it really doesn't matter which game it is, whether it's Street Fighter, whether it's Tekken, whether it's Guilty Gear. I know the only two games from the FGC side that are featured in the EWC are Street Fighter and Tekken, which is a bold call because there's no anime.
Oh, and what about that? There's so many.
Yep.
That, wow, I never even thought about that because like you don't have Guilty Gear. Them's fighting her.
That'd be hysterical. I'd be dying.
Um, but like, yeah, no, I never even thought about that.
That's like to kind of just name off a few. That's no Guilty Gear. That's no Melty Blood. That's no King of Fighters. No. What else am I missing? Like no earlier versions of other anime style games. Like there's no Marvel, no Mortal Kombat, none of that. Not even MK is featured for the EWC, which blows me away.
I want to know to not include like Mortal Kombat that has been arguably like Mortal Kombat, I believe, like the exact foundation of fighting game. I don't know if first Street Fighter came out before the first Mortal Kombat, but either way, you've got Mortal Kombat is. I mean, heck, the one fighting game I ever even really invested that much in.
Mm.
That game pretty much played like a Mortal Kombat through and through, and
Right.
by golly, was I hot trash at it, but that's just because I was 12. Combos.
True.
But the fact that, wow, I failed decision.
It really is. I mean, Mortal Kombat not only, I mean, MK1 has had the most sales of any Mortal Kombat game ever. But the competitive scene is only about 9, if not 8% of its entire player base. Like Mortal Kombat, in terms of entrance, I'm going to use Evo as an example. Let me pull up the entrance number. Do it live type beat. You know what I'm saying?
As I'm continuing to like scroll through some of the roster, you were talking about a lot of the players that drop. And I was just looking through, like, to me, the most reliable for. We've got
right.
3 out of the 4 Vegas Legion players have Fame from. Oh, well, he did play LAG on Vegas Legion. Dean played Boston Breach through the majority of the. And for EWC, went over to Carolina Royal Ravens for this one tournament, and he is now a free agent. And then EJ Alley, also but by the Royal Ravens, and this has all been announced just today.
What?
As well.
Oh my gosh!
It hasn't been posted by Breaking Point. Minnesota Rocker did. Well, Minnesota Rocker did drop our AK is no longer. I don't know if Minnesota Rockers future seasons because Minnesota Rocker
Interesting.
was bought by G2. So,
Oh, rip.
During EWC,
Rip.
they did not win EWC. They even like the challengers. Yeah, no, G2 did not do well at EWC. But no, like you were saying though, these players come out for this tournament, they play their hearts out, and now they're just dropped. Like
Yeah.
super fast. Even like Carolina, they came out, they were not projected to do well, and I think they finished top 8. Like they made it out of group. They made it out of group, and by the skin of their teeth, but they did make it, and then they were dropped. Definitely will be interesting. I'm interested to see how many other orgs have gone through situations, picked up players, dropped them.
Right.
I haven't found what found. Like there's thousands of up for AWC. Obviously, right now, Falcons just acquired over $7 million over the course of.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see. And honestly, what seems areas of competitive. They've gone now. Arguably prestigious esports organizations in the world just by this one event.
Well, and it's so crazy because, like, you really think about it from the grand scheme of things, like the EWC being one, and if not one of the largest esports events to ever like be, recorded. I mean, it pays no manner to Evolution 2024. I think they're down by maybe just a couple numbers still, but in terms of like having that many teams show up and then play in under one building under the same roof blows me away. Fortnite, racing sims, StarCraft, you said.
Yep. Okay, Fortnite. I don't know how much you know about the Fortnite. That was actually wild. It wasn't Battle Royale.
I watched a little bit of it. It was nuts.
It was actually so good. Shout outs to whoever came up with that idea for that format, because I would so be down if that was actually like a regular competitive format. I would love that.
Well, right. I mean, you had one firearm and that was it. And then you had like the standard bodies of red versus blue being just like regular Fortnite characters, right? Nothing crazy, no wild hitboxes or hurt boxes. They were just standard, all the same throughout the entire thing. And I think something like that, even for the EWC, makes it so it's on fair game, because like who knows, this player might have Mr. Fish, or someone's got the banana, like King Banana, and King Banana's hitbox is long.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
It just made me think, like, Fortnite, out of all of the games, which arguably in its battle royale mode always has complaints about its balancing. Like everybody always complains, this gun is too good, this gun is too good, this thing is too good, and then EWC comes out and they literally balanced it probably the best out of any FPS esport or just any shooter esport has ever balanced anything.
Right.
Which is kind of like absolutely ridiculous to think about the fact that is even a thing. Because it's Fortnite, but if everybody's on equal playing grounds, it's kind of similar because like MW3 or just Call of Duty in general. I don't know how much you know about this, Hamalak. They actually gentlemen's agreements for guns. They do GAs. There's a reason why for MW3 we were seeing MCW, so Rival 9. Most of the other guns were GA'd, so players were not allowed to use them. They GA'd certain attachments and different things like that to be able to help kind of balance as possible. Now, granted, GAs were stupid in my opinion, but neither here nor there. That's why I think the devs need to be a little bit more involved in that. But again, that'll probably be talked about more when I have a very heavily ranted Call of Duty specific talk on
Sure.
because there's so much to talk about on the COD side that it really does just make there's a lot to talk about there that it deserves its own kind of thing. So
No, I agree.
So this is something too that I also kind of want to think about while I have you here.
Sure.
So earlier this year, the official Olympics committee approved for the organization of an esports Olympics.
Yes.
So, is there a possibility of EWC being a competitor to that of the esports Olympics, or are they going to be kind of their own thing? Because, like, obviously, you're looking at the esports Olympics is probably going to be a lot more regional focused, similar to how our tradition.
Yeah.
So you're not. I would be shocked to see a lot of like the European players playing for NA and
Right.
esports Olympics, which honestly I'm so down for. I really want to see how it actually comes, but
Sure.
will be a next year thing because that's when they said it was going to be coming is next year, which is crazy.
Oh, okay.
Really fast, yeah. I'm so down for, and I love the fact that having the esports Olympics as like an off year, so it's not paired with the. So that way, esports has its time to shine.
Which is really cool, by the way. And it's like how would these how these players represent themselves? Would they represent their country? And like in terms of like game wise, because like really, if you think about it, games that come to mind are games like Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike, COD, to name a few. I mean, even though the European scene sucks, I'm just saying, man,
you're right.
and NA is the best region for controller shooters.
Yeah. Yep.
Hands down. If we're going to talk about mouse and keyboard, Europe. EU, a drop of the dime. Drop of the dime, I don't even care. But like games like Counter-Strike, Dota 2, I'll say Black Ops 6, just to name one. Street Fighter, Tekken, FIFA, even. I mean, it's a sports game. I mean, really, when you break it down, like we watched North American basketball. Actually, I lied. We watched LeBron and Steph Curry have a heyday on the entire planet.
Yeah, they really did. I can't watch Olympic basketball. Not as any. I mean, I love Steph Curry. I'm not a fan of
LeBron is definitely a character.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, I mean, I can't. It's just I can't. You already know the U.S. is getting the gold
easily.
But at the same time, you look at European soccer, and you're definitely not gonna have like U.S. is not just gonna come out and win. Like that's just not gonna happen. And if they are going to win, they're going to fight like absolute heck for it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, think of it really like if we're gonna break down for soccer, our women's soccer team is the best in the world. Like just hands down. I mean, not only did I think they got second this year for the World Championships, but I mean they got gold in the Olympics against Brazil. Which, by the way, Brazil
is cracked.
Mm-hmm. Like, chat room, you got to be with me on this.
Really, but yeah. So going back to this on the esports versus on the Olympics versus, do you think there'll be a competitive side, or do you think it'll be just overall it's a complete?
I would hope it's its own different event because EWC kind of branded itself being this high-end, big spectacle. All right, we're here, we're in Riyadh, and we get to showcase all of these games over the course of the entire summer.
Yeah.
And then some. I mean, it's been crazy. You said 9 weeks.
At least.
That's bananas. Like, that's so... Like, I love video games. Don't get me wrong. I love video games a lot. But god dang, that's a lot of games.
It's a lot. I know they just posted the talent announcement. Like, so
Oh,
Rocket League hasn't even started yet, which is crazy. But also, it makes sense because if there's one esport that is also very diverse, it would be Rocket League. You know, you've got North
right.
America, Europe, Oceania that are all playing together under the RLCS banner. So, like, it only makes sense that something like that has such a strong regional diversity would have that. See
Right.
that show up in that way, which is something too that I kind of thought about when they did League of Legends so early. But at the same time, I split those big esports apart so that way you're not
Sure.
having like your peak viewership all at once for one tournament versus
Yeah.
spreading it out over the entire event.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, really, to think about it, we saw SKT fall in groups in the League of Legends stage of the game. Like teams like Faker, Peanut, to name just a few off of SKT, didn't have their chance to shine, losing to I think it was DRX. I can't remember. I think it was DRX initially. No, it was EWG that SKT lost to, which SKT beat in the group stage at Worlds last year.
Yeah.
Speaking of Worlds 2024 is happening in October.
Yeah, it's coming up real soon. It's kind of crazy because like they basically like took a break at least for NALC or the EW.
Yeah.
WC without having to also focus on the LCS matches. Okay, so I'm looking at the club championship.
Yep.
The standings for club championship. Falcons, they secured their number one. The second team, so Team Falcons has 4,000.
Okay.
The second place team.
Oh.
And they have 1,500. So Falcons have almost 8,000, which is wild.
Yeah, that is actually bananas.
But Falcons, they took 1,000 points Warzone. They won.
Yep.
They took 1,000 points Free Fire. I don't even know what that game even is.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of Free Fire.
You know, you gotta let me know what that is.
I'm pulling up the grand finals VOD.
Pull it up. I'll
game.
continue down the road.
It looks like it's a mobile battle royale.
That's crazy. I mean, they got 600 in Apex Legends, 600 in MLBB. I'm gonna assume that's another. It's Mobile Legends battle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Dota 2. I mean, Falcons already had a pretty dominant Dota 2 team already, placing I think it was 4th at internationals this year.
Okay.
Over Navi, if I remember correctly. And then MLBB, their women's division.
Yeah, I forgot that there is the women's of some of these events, which is super cool. I'm all for it. I am absolutely all for women's divisions, which is super cool. I didn't even know that there were women's divisions of EWC happening. So that is something that I will kind of critique the marketing side of things. That there wasn't a lot of marketing for the women's divisions, unless I just completely missed it, which is also very highly possible. Also, right. I apologize for those in Catland who are having a problem hearing. Apparently my mic is just not picking me up, so I'm going.
That's weird. Turn it around.
Do like this.
Do one of these. Yeah. Okay, now speak.
I don't know. I'm looking at it.
Yes.
It looks like my noise gate just might be a little too strong. I'm gonna do this. Boom. We'll see if that works, and if that hopefully makes a difference. Okay. Yeah, I think it also is just because my Yeti is like right up like I gotta be like right up on it.
Right. I mean, that's what I do. I mean, I got the boom arm. It is right here.
I need to get a boom arm. That's like my next big investment.
Is
And then we look at Team Liquid. They got first in StarCraft. They got
classic.
second in Dota. They got third in League of Legends.
Interesting. That is a North American based team, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So T1 actually won League of Legends. So SKT didn't make it through.
That means they'd have to fight out from the loser's side of the bracket.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Because T1 got first. Top Esports got second. Team Liquid and G2 tied for third. So if I'm looking at the teams, it looks like the bracket here. Yeah, T1 beat Billy 2-1. They beat Team Liquid 2-1, and then they beat Top Esports 3-1.
Right.
So, yeah. And then Team Liquid took third in MLBB, and they took third in Rainbow Six.
Whoa.
And then they also did get some points they got some more points in StarCraft 2. They got 40 points in Apex, they got 60 points in EAFC, and they got 20 in PUBG Mobile.
Ooh.
And then T1, they got second in Teamfight Tactics.
Wow.
Which I forgot that Wolves Esports won in Teamfight Tactics.
That's been it. Also, Team BDS absolutely dominating the entire bracket for Rainbow Six does not surprise me
not even
at all.
Close to being a surprise. Natus Vincere, Natus Vincere, their logo low-key kind of looks like Blockbuster.
It does. That is also Team Navi.
Oh, that is Team Navi. Okay.
Yeah, that's Navi right there.
That's okay. That's interesting. But yes, their logo still does absolutely look like the Blockbuster. Xset won first in Fortnite. They got the first in Fortnite. Second was Exceed. Honestly, the only org that I know besides Falcons and Xset out of the Fortnite bracket was Dignitas.
Right.
That was it. I don't know any of these other teams. But one of the things that blows my mind too is looking at the teams that were all in here. So even the last place teams in the Fortnite bracket, which are ALULA, Zeta Division, Fnatic, and W7M Esports.
Sure.
They literally all, essentially what they did was show up and lost. They're still walking away with $10,000.
That blows me away. What in the world?
Like, that I don't understand how, like, that happened. Where you just, you still can walk away with. I mean, you even look at, like, the MW3. The bottom four teams were Heretics, Falcons, G2, and Omit Brooklyn. They're walking away with $20,000. They showed up, they lost twice, they get $20,000.
It's like, here you go, have your cash. One thing I've noticed, I mean, I'm looking at the prize pool, and I mean, Dota 2 already happened, but I think looking at it, Dota 2 had the biggest prize pool out of everything at 5 million.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like Gaming Gladiators, the winners, walked away with 1.5.
Like, that is an absurd amount of money.
So, what was the prize pool? Did the international happen this year already, correct?
I think so. It should have already happened, yeah.
No, okay, so the international... Okay, so here's something interesting. The prize pool... Oh, no, it hasn't happened yet. The international happens in September.
Okay, so next month.
Yeah, but The international only has a base prize pool of 1.6 million for the entire prize pool.
Interesting.
So the winner of Dota 2 of Gaming Gladiators won only $100,000 less than the entire prize pool of the international.
That really makes you think, right? Like, so think of it. Which one would you rather, like, I'm going to ask your opinion on this. What would you rather prepare for? Would you rather prepare for EWC or like the big international?
See, I don't know. And this is a weird thing because there's there's been a huge debate about this in the Call of Duty scene between EWC and Champs, because Champs happened 2 weeks ago, like 2-3 weeks ago. Teams had finished up Champs. They only had a couple of weeks of scrimming before they go to Riyadh and play in the EWC. And the Champs prize pool was the EWC prize pool for COD was nerfed to be able to match Champs. So that way the winning team wasn't getting more at EWC than they would be getting at Champs. But that obviously is not the case for the International, which is really weird. So there's been this huge debate over which event matters more between Champs or EWC. And I think at the moment, players are not going to be looking at EWC as highly. Because it's new. It is a brand new event. It's something where it's here, you play it once, you're done. But when you're playing in something like the CDL, not only do you have Champs that you're trying to get to, you still have 4 other majors plus online qualifiers you're fighting through. Like, you have a absolute grind of a season to start at. Like, pretty much from like the moment Black Ops 6 is released, teams are going to be scrimming right away. And then it's going to be
100%.
like maybe 2 months, if that, before matches start, depending on what Activision does. And so for them, it's like, I feel like in the heart, the things like the international are going to matter more. Not because of the money, but because of the grind. You know, for EWC, as long as you're consistently staying one of the best teams in your game, you're making it to EWC. Unless you have to get to the last chance qualifier. But for teams like Atlanta FaZe, 100 Thieves, Optic, you know, these guys are playing through a whole season to get to Champs.
Right.
And
easily.
Like, that is the event that for years, even going all the way back to like the CWL era, Champs has been the event everybody's been working towards. Like, above all, winning Champs is the goal. And for a lot of these players, I think it was Scrap, which is funny that I referenced Scrap, being the fact that I will not even deny that I am like a certified Scrap critic.
I'm a Scrap hater. That guy is a nerd.
Yes, I will say it too. I am a certified Scrap hater. But like, I mean, Scrap was saying like that this was not a like, they were tired. I mean, they got through Champs and they're just like, my season's over, you know, because they finished their big thing. But then it's like, actually, no, it's not. You've still got EWC. And for a lot of these guys, they were done with MW3. They've been done with MW3 for a while. The game's garbage. And
the game is hot garbage.
Nobody denies that. And so, like, it's something where maybe it could be better to see. Maybe Black Ops 6, it might be different if the game's actually good. Who knows? It depends on how much faith you have in Treyarch. I'm nervous. I have faith in Treyarch. I don't have faith in Activision to maintain it.
Right.
But that is something that, like, you know, Scrap was saying that he could care less. Part of him could care less about EWC. Like, the only reason he can really care about EWC is the money involved. Yep. But even with it, Toronto Ultra came out 5th, and they walk away with $80,000.
Like, an 80,000, you know, spread between the 4 of them. Like,
$20,000 a player.
20,000 a piece. That's a brand new car. That is whatever you want. That is 20,000 McChickens if you ever felt so inclined.
That's fair. I don't think anybody would ever do that, especially Scrap. Kid's a twig.
The kid is an absolute twig. The man's got no meat on the bones.
No. The one thing I want to give a huge shout out to EWC for is how they did some of their qualifiers, specifically for the challengers teams. So,
sure.
In the COD scene, for teams like Stallions, Gentlemates, Lure Gaming, and Omen Brooklyn, their placement at Challengers Champs, if they had to get top 4 at Challengers Champs to qualify for EWC.
Yeah.
So that I loved because it gave so much more stakes for Challengers Champs. Because this event is the only event in the Call of Duty scene that gave Challengers teams the ability to go up against CDL teams.
Oh.
You know, because during the year, they don't scrim each other.
Right.
They have no reason to. Like, you're not going to see Toronto Ultra scrimming against Gentlemates because they're not going to learn anything.
Right.
Like, Gentlemates, they'll learn a lot, but Toronto Ultra is like, we're not going to waste our time scrimming against these guys. They're a Challengers team.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, looking at groups. So, in Group B, you had Gentlemates was the only Challengers team. The rest of the teams that were in there were Vancouver Surge, Cloud9, and G2 Esports.
Oh.
G2 Esports were unable to beat Gentlemates. Gentlemates beat them in Game 5.
Oh, Map 5, really?
Yes, in Map 5 is when G2 Esports, a.k.a. Minnesota Rocker, fall.
It just completely dumpstered the bed. Just couldn't even do it.
But then you also at the same time you look at Vancouver Surge, who went 2-0 out of their groups, actually beating Cloud9, which is the New York Subliners.
Yeah.
They 3-1'd them, which was kind of wild. But Vancouver Surge 3-0 G2 Esports. But like you've got G2 Esports, which was a team of CDL players. I don't want their logo out of here.
Yeah.
So their Modern Warfare 3 roster, they had Lamar, Accuracy, Diamond Con, Linz, and Estriel. Diamond Con and Estriel played for Los Angeles Guerrillas, and Accuracy and Linz played for Rocker the whole year. Linz was in Rookie of the Year running for the entire season.
Oh.
So he was like actually a decent player. I think Linz could have won Rookie of the Year if he didn't have the rest of Rocker on his team. I will say that.
Wow.
Linz was hard-bodied by his team. And I love Rocker. I mean, I absolutely love Rocker. I have a Rocker sticker on my laptop. Like, I am a Rocker fan.
Fair.
But yeah, Linz got absolutely bodied by the rest of the players. But you have these 4 players who are CDL players.
Yeah.
They all Diamond Con and Estriel played in champs this year. The first time LAG ever actually qualified for champs. And they couldn't beat Gentlemates. But Gentlemates, to be fair, their roster was a team of a bunch of ex-pros. They had Harry, they had Bance, they had Cobra, and Denza, and Marky B as a sub.
Wow.
So, like, they had a bunch of ex-pros. But there's still... I mean, these players were showing that they could beat CDL teams. And so,
easily.
This is why I want to give love to the EWC for this, because it gives teams an opportunity to be able to show that they can still play against CDL teams and win. And I think that is something that will be absolutely huge for COD players.
Sure.
Now, go ahead.
I gotta ask you this now with the fame of these challenger teams and former pros is coming back for the EWC, and I'm gonna say something controversial here. Are the CDL teams free?
Ooh, I don't know. I would say this is another big gripe that I have with the CDL. I would say bottom 8 teams are free.
Okay.
But the top 4 CDL teams continue to remain like top 4, and they just do not. They don't. You don't see breaks in the top 4, and I hate it. It's my biggest gripe. Yeah. So, looking at the top 4 teams, you have Atlanta FaZe just purely on map wins and map losses. They won.
Right.
Actually, is this the entire season? Yeah, this is the entire season. They won the 38 matches. They lost 10. Toronto Ultra won 37 matches. They lost 11. Optic Texas won 31 matches, lost 16.
Oh.
New York Subliners won 32 matches, lost 16. Optic Texas played less matches because in Major 3 they got absolutely steamrolled and took last place. It was weird. Major 3 was weird. Or no, it was Major 4. It was Major 4 they took last. It was weird, but Major 4 was also weird. So those are the top 4 teams. Then at top 5, at 5th place, you have the Seattle Surge that won 16 games and lost 26. So 5th place had half as many wins as 4th.
Oh.
So
what?
Yeah. That's how big of a gap there is, even between 4th and 5th. The CDL, you're watching, like, in the CDL, you're watching New York, Optic, Toronto, and Atlanta. They're all playing each other. For some reason, New York can't beat Optic, Optic can't beat FaZe, Toronto can't beat New York. They all
it's a whole triangle.
Yeah, they're all just stuck in that format. But yet, it does not matter what other team they play. They basically steamroll them every single time, unless they decide to try something crazy new. So that's like, it's super weird because now the rest of the CDL season becomes watching these other teams battle it out, seeing who can come up ahead. Now, the only exception to that rule in this specific event was LA Thieves.
Right.
Los Angeles Thieves, going into Major 4, they took 4th because New York Subliners, or no, they did not take 4th. They took, I don't remember what they took in Major 4, because New York won Major 4. They made it like all the way through. I want to see if I can find like the actual like bracket for Major 4.
Sure. I mean, while you're finding that, I was gonna say one of the things that I really enjoyed as a spectator of not just like the FGC but like other events as well. One thing that I did notice from the FGC side is that it showed, so you had your players and it had the player cam as well, along with showing what peripheral they were using.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing here in the FGC is that you have so many different kinds of controllers. Do you play on a leverless style controller where it is all buttons and no joystick, or you play on something more classic, something along the lines of something like this, like which just has the standard joystick. Also, shoutouts to Big.
Big. We love Big.
And it's like, it was so cool. It was so interesting because like you had players that were using just basic PS5 pads to arcade sticks that were modded out the wazoo. Shoutouts to AU4 and their team out of, I believe it is the Philippines, for coming up with the golden lever and their own like arcade stick case that hosts 12 different buttons on the face of it, which kind of one is a lot of buttons. Because like, okay, really, when you look at it, right here is your standard layout. This is the Vuelix layout in terms of the right hand, but you have your standard 4, you have another 4 row on the top of these, and then another 4 down below, and an extra thumb button. So you had 2 thumb buttons. Which, why do you need this many buttons? I mean, I understand, yeah, you got your macros, but like, dog, you have everything on here. Everything on here does what you need. I mean, minus having, a button for like Street Fighter, say drive impact. You have 28 frames to react to it, by the way. It's as simple as a button press. Like, just mash your button. Be ready for it. I mean, it's not hard. And especially we see it at the high level. People only use, certain mechanics and certain buttons.
Right.
During certain situations, like, somebody whiffed, like, I don't know, Ken's Shoryuken. Watch Shoryuken. And like, all right, I'm going to hit you with drive impact. Bam. It does the spray paint flash. And your health bar just turns to glass. Like, and that's just how it is. And I mean, it's so cool though. Like as a spectator alone, kind of going back to it, I've had a blast watching just about every game that I've had the chance to. I just wish that it wasn't on at 8:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Yep.
I gotta work. I gotta go to work. I can't enjoy video games if I'm at work.
Right.
What do you mean, chat room?
That's something, I don't know if there ever is going to be a perfect win for that, though. Because, especially with it taking place in Riyadh, like, your time zones are just not going to be your friend. But you can't, I don't think you're just ever going to find a good way to battle time zones. Because, you play for NA time zones. Well, then now nobody in Europe can watch because they're all sleeping. Or, and obviously breaking players' sleep schedules that way is just not going to be physically healthy for them.
True.
So I do have these brackets pulled up now for what I'm looking at.
Perfect.
So LA Thieves, this is the main thing that I want to look at. They're the exception to the top 4 rule. Okay, so we look at Major 2 in the CDL. They finished in basically dead last, 9 through 12. They get wrecked right away.
Get smoked, nerd.
Major 3, they finish top 8. Not much better, but they do a little bit better. Major 4, they finish top 6.
Interesting.
Champs, they finish 4th. And then, here's where it gets better. EWC, they finish 2nd.
The growth. That's what that is.
That right there made me become a LA Thieves fan so hard. That and watching, lurking in Nadeshot's stream, man's actually so real. It's kind of incredible.
It's so funny just listening to that man talk.
Oh my gosh.
That guy he spits just pure words out of his mouth that are just like ghee, just golden, delicious butter that just please put it in my mouth. I need all of it. Put it into my ear holes. I need to hear more. Please just be real with me. Tell me how bad one, your players suck, or B, how good they're doing. Let me know in raw emotion. See, that's the thing. And I could tangent about this for hours. I'm tired of seeing leaders of esports org just be not real about what's going on. Nadeshot, when he knows his team is doing bad, he'll say it. And that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
Where it's we're doing okay. I mean, we may be at the bottom of the leaderboard. No, we suck. We need to get better.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's the pure grind about it. If you are not doing well, you got to improve in some which way or another. Hold that L and hold that L as a lesson to continue forward and be a better player.
It's another thing I also kind of give a little bit of respect to Aches, aka Patrick Price. I don't know how much if you watch any of the flank, but he will not hesitate to say to a roster, you guys did not do well at this tournament, make a change.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care what it is. He typically goes with the phrase blow it up, which he just says redo the entire thing, which I don't think that's a good way to do it every single tournament.
Sure.
But, I mean, every single tournament, you're placing 6th. Okay, why didn't we place 6th? Okay, this player for some reason finished with a 0.8 KD. All right, we got to swap you out. We got to make a change.
Right.
And he's telling teams, this apparently was a thing way back in the CWL era, or even way back in the Black Ops 2 era. So way, way back. Players were making roster changes regardless if they won a tournament or not. Because there wasn't these big... there wasn't orgs the way that we see them now. in Black
Right.
Ops 2. Like, I mean, you think about it. You think about Black Ops 2. What was the esports scene like for Black Ops 2? You know,
Game battles online, stuff that you could all just do through, the the matchmaking systems that they had online.
yeah,
I remember years ago during MW2, like early Black Ops 1 era, like we had game battles, and that's what we used to like matchmake for money.
yeah. And so like you were making a roster change every single tournament because like even if you won it, you couldn't. Obviously, you still wanted to continue to win, and back then, at least, tournaments you weren't making money even if you won the tournament. Like that wasn't
That's a
happening.
fact.
Now, teams are getting $10,000 just to show up, which is wild for EWC.
Constellation prizes, dog.
Yeah.
Get it out of here.
All right, so we're approaching about an hour and 15, which I was kind of hoping to go about an hour, which no shocker that you and I continue to yap overtime, which is fine. Exactly
Yep,
kind of
it
what
happens.
I expected. So I have one final question to look at as we look at closing this out. For future, whether it's EWC or something else, what do you think is the biggest thing that EWC needs to do in order to make it even more prestigious than it already is?
Holy moly. That is a tough question.
I know.
I mean, really, at its core, I mean, it has the largest prize pool out of any tournament in history, really. And I mean, that's just not talking per game. I'm talking as a whole. $70 million is an absurd amount of money. I think the only way to do it is if they not only brought a bigger prize pool, but brought a bigger incentive.
Okay.
So like not in the fame for like money, like okay, what are other ways we can get like smaller orgs and bigger teams involved with this kind of environment? Will it also happen in Riyadh again? Will it be anywhere else? Like that's something we got to think about. Like,
Right.
okay, EWC is hosted in, I don't know, Japan, where the prize pool is X amount of yen or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it in the States hosted at like, I don't know, Salt Lake City, just to like name a random, like throw a dart kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it would be really cool to, I would see personally, I would want them to tone down the money and be able to travel to different regions.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like being able to move around, not only does it help people kind of engage, but also I understand why they picked Riyadh, because you don't need a travel visa to go to the Middle East. You just need a passport.
Oh, I did not know that. That's fair. So I was kind of thinking about this. I think the biggest thing that I've seen is there wasn't a lot of spectator stuff for people. Like, there wasn't a lot of room for people to sit in the stages.
Sure.
So I think that would be probably the biggest thing that I would want to see is like, I look at champs this year and I look at champs, LCS Worlds, the international.
Oh,
I mean, they
IEM
sell
Cologne
out.
that's happening this weekend.
Yeah, like even like Evo and all those kind of tournaments.
Oh,
The rooms are packed. And I think there needs to be a way, and I don't know if it's just because like they didn't have the space for it or what exactly. This isn't like a big critique. I'm not trying to like say that EWC not having this stuff was bad, because like obviously they're running multiple stages across multiple streams. It's not easy
Right.
to be able to do that, to be able to show
Right.
everything and to accommodate everything. But I think that would be something that they should really look into. And also, I don't want to see EWC as a yearly thing.
Oh,
I think if EWC
Interesting.
becomes yearly, it becomes this like just another tournament.
right.
And I think if, like the Olympics only comes around once every 4 years, whether you're summer
Yep.
or winter. And so for teams that maybe didn't do as well at EWC, or maybe that didn't even qualify, they look at this money and they're like, we need to get better so that way when this comes around again, we're ready.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Olympic athletes, I mean, what, like, once the Olympics are over, where does their mindset go? The next Olympics.
Yeah. You're chasing gold, not even after you chase gold again. I mean, look at Katie Ledecky, just to name one body, being the most decorated female women's swimmer of all time. I would say in her category, beating that she holds, and this is a crazy statistic. She holds the top 20 best times in the women's 1500.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean she holds the top 20 best times for a single category? Think of it like in a speedrunner scenario. Like, cool. I hold the top 20 best times for, I don't know, Sonic Adventure Battle 2, just to name a game.
Yeah. It's crazy. I remember seeing like the screenshot of Katie Ledecky going so fast you couldn't even see the other swimmers on screen.
Yeah. It's like, holy moly. How first off, how are you so good? And B, like, I understand you train a ton and you're trying for this one specific event, but like the 1500 meters in an Olympic pool, dog, I'm gonna keep it so for real. I can't even swim halfway through an Olympic pool. It is massive.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. Even after doing like a backstroke, I'm gone. I'm a buoy in the water going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild. But with that being said, EWC is going into its last weekend. Rocket League is coming up here, and it is going to be a phenomenal event. The talent list is stacked, so if you haven't seen that, go to EWC Twitter and check that out. Hamalak, thank you so much for joining me here on this first thing of Raw and Uncut. This was super fun. I love just chatting with you across all things esports. Hamalak, for those who don't know who you are, where can the humble folks out there in Chatland find you?
Well, y'all can find me on Twitter. I will wait to call it X until Elon Musk stops dead naming their child. So it is Twitter forever in my heart. But if you want to follow me on Twitter or X, it is at HamalakGames on every form of social media. Whether it be Twitter, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Twitch, or Google Plus, if that's your fancy. I have it either way, and it does not matter. Y'all know where I'm at. Exactly, Zojolix has got it. You follow me there. You can see whatever I'm up to, whether it's fighting games, whether it's FPSs, maybe soon down the line. You might see me in other games featured, but that is definitely a different thing to come. Also, I'm not sure if y'all saw, but the 2XKO Alpha Lab was super sick. Go check out clips. I'll be uploading YouTube videos about that on my channel later on down this week.
I did see that you did 2KXO, which was wild, and I saw the name Leffen attached to it and went, oh my goodness, that's my boy.
Yes. That was literally last Saturday. 2XKO 1v1s on Paragon Online. Leffen winning the whole thing. Shouts to Leffen. Big Lef coming out on top. I mean, there was a lot of great names in that tournament as well, but we have reached a little over our time. Like you said, is no surprise to us that we were able to continue to yap for as long as we have. But you got to bring us home, man. This is your show. Let the people know.
Yes, and I just want to say thank you guys so much. For those who are watching on Twitch, I will be uploading all of these onto my YouTube channel, so make sure you guys are subscribed to my YouTube so that way you can see all of that good joy. I don't even know if I even have the right YouTube put in, so I'm going to quick put that in chat because, like I said, this is Raw and Uncut, which basically means this is going to be uncut footage. We are going to be talking about anything and everything as we... anything and everything authentically. There's no scripts. I don't even have any interview prompts or anything. We are just talking about anything and everything in regards to esports, whether it's EWC or any other events. I'm wanting to talk about esports in just its own grand scheme because there's just so much to cover, and esports is sick, and I want to just talk about video games. Hence why Ham and I, where the original plan was to originally talk about FGC, but we just went around.
It happens.
Covered a lot.
It happens.
And it was great. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to be cutting stream. I don't know if I'll be back with some more in the North speedruns. I haven't decided yet. I might not. I don't know. But either way, thank you guys again for watching. This was Raw and Uncut, and we will see you guys next time. I don't know when, but it will be sometime. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye.